Hi guys, welcome back to another daily tarot card. These are your daily tarot cards for Friday, September the 22nd, 2023. Today we're pulling from the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot cards. So we have Justice. I feel like Libra energy, like we on the 23rd, it's equinox, we head into Libra energy, and I feel like, you're on that cusp. I feel like this is where they're like more balanced energy. I feel like there's something coming in that's going to bring in more balance where you feel more grounded, more in like, like things are falling into place, things are the way that they should be. We have this rebirth in our life, and it's like, we're on the precipice of this. This is where they were saying like that Pentacle energy was coming in. The Page of Pentacles kept coming up 3 weeks time, 3 weeks time. They said the 13th, 14th, 15th. I feel like that was like the end of retrograde. Like, that's where things are turning. We had Rosh Hashanah, so I feel like it's just like real, like in the Hebrew calendar, it's like that's a new year, and it's just like leading up to, like, they were showing like manifestations, working on the vision board for 2024, all this good stuff, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's giving you positive confirmation of things to look forward to, things that we want to change, things we want to bring in our life. I love this card because it's like, if only we could bottle this feeling, we would bottle it forever. And I feel like for myself, and I just saw the actress that played Blossom and Sheldon's wife on The Big Bang Theory. I can't remember her name. I'm probably going to say it wrong. I'm thinking of the one from that 70s show. I don't know why her name's coming in my head. But the one that plays Blossom, where she sat there and said she unplugged for 2 weeks, and it's like she felt different. And I feel that way when it comes to like Shabbat. You know what I mean? Because it's like, anyone that I do readings for, like, especially on a regular, like, obviously new customers wouldn't know that, but it's just like, they know that that's my, complete, not doing anything, hanging out with the kids, you know what I mean? Just, having family time. Like, that's, from sunset to sunset on Friday and Saturday, that's all it is. But with Rosh Hashanah, and we have Yom Kippur coming up, these holidays where they come up, and it's the same thing. It's like, there's absolutely no work permitted. Like, you know what I mean? This is a time for, there is this amazing group that I follow, and they sit there, and it's just like, it's a synagogue, but it's not, because everybody is in the same room, men and women and children, and it's just like, it's not about, where there's these restrictions. It's very liberal in that way, and he doesn't see himself as a rabbi. Like, everybody sees him as a leader. And I remember watching them last year, and the women had these beautiful shawls on, and she had like the Torah on it, and she had like I remember the grapes on it, and it's just very vibrant in color and everything. And I said, this time next year I will have that shawl, so a shawl, period. I looked for her particular one. I couldn't find it, but I did happen to come across one, and it's the same color as my grandmother's sari. So I was just like, well, that really resonates with me. I'm going to get this color, and I wear it every single Shabbat and every single high holiday now. For me, it's just like that connection. I love the fact that the prayer is over our crown chakra, like by our third eye, and it's like you're receiving that knowledge and everything like that. So it's a very beautiful time. The fact that the kids were there for the whole ceremony because it was Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah at the same time. So it was just like, this really family celebration, you know what I mean? And that's what it should be about. And I remember, like, one of the lyrics from Greta Van Fleet is like, passing the torch, you know what I mean? And I feel like in that way, it's like, whatever they, how they unfold and how they transform into men and how they lead their lives, you know what I mean? They'll see that their mother did these things, you know what I mean? And that's what got me through tough situations, and even happy situations, being grateful that, those things came into our life. So, when I get that, like, if only we could bottle this feeling forever, we would. And it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like times like that feeling that I got, that peace, that happiness, you know what I mean? That joy that I felt, you know what I mean? It's just, we put Yom Kippur decorations up because I didn't have time to put up the Rosh Hashanah one. So I made sure to put Yom Kippur up, and, we put some Halloween decorations around the house, even though our house looks like Halloween 24/7, but we put some Halloween decorations up, and it's just like little things like that just make us, you know what I mean? Because that's how they grew up. Like, any holiday that was coming up, I would decorate the house, and that's what they remember. Like, their birthday was always a celebration because their birthdays are only so many days apart, and it's just like, the living room would be decorated, for that time. So it was like over a month that the living room would have balloons and streamers, and because one was beginning of June, one was at the like a week and a half into July. So it's like this massive celebration. It's like, why decorate twice when you could just leave the decorations up and have a party together when they were kids? You know what I mean? It's just like fun things like that where it's just like, if they ever have children, that's their choice, but it's just like, they bring that same kind of joy to their children. We have the magician. I feel like this is where we're talking about the experience. I feel like someone may be taking a class, and one thing that really resonated with me this week is like, don't underestimate the connections when you meet someone. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes we want more than what the connection is, like like maybe like a partnership, but it's just like, well, maybe they were meant to be in your life to be a partnership. Maybe you're meant to learn from them. You know what I mean? So it's just like, accepting the fact that, like, I even felt that with it yesterday with the Emperor card, where it felt like, for the longest time, it's like there's a missing piece, this missing pillar, and I don't feel that anymore. You know what I mean? Because it's just like sometimes we feel like, society teaches us, oh, you gotta be in a partnership or da 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 da. You know what I mean? And it's nice to be in a partnership. Don't get me wrong. I am a person that wears my heart on my sleeve. I love being in a partnership. I love the fact with Shane, me and him would talk things out. I would get his perspective, and I respected his perspective. It gave me a lot to think of. Sometimes I didn't even think of what he would tell me, and I just like, yep, you're absolutely right. I didn't see it from that point of view. Like, that's why they say, two eyes are better than one. You know what I mean? So it's like, I miss that kind of camaraderie, but it's just like, I feel like this is where, and this is another thing that came across my path. This brilliant woman, she reminds me a lot of Sylvia Brown, where she was just like, turn to your guides, turn to your ancestors. On here, I'll be getting some really snarky comments. It comes with the territory. It's like, you gain love from a lot of people, which I'm very incredibly grateful for. Thank you. And some of them, it's just, these remarks, So it's just like, I can't babysit the channel all the time. So whenever I see anything, I just delete it and block them or whatever I can do, because it's just like, this is about love. Maybe it doesn't resonate with you. That's totally fine. It doesn't resonate with you. You don't have to take your time to sit there and put something nasty there. It's like, if you have nothing nice to say, move along. You don't have to put your little comment on. Because your comment may turn someone away from something that could be the greatest thing in their life. So one example of that was a few weeks ago, probably a month now, over a month, is like, I asked for guidance in a situation. I got angel numbers that totally corresponded with the answer I needed. A dream, I looked up the definition, and they also were like, leave it alone. I get downloads, So I feel like, when they're sitting there and I see this person, where they're sitting there and they're rubbing their hand up and down the spine of 2 pages. I feel like this is a brand new book, right? That's why I feel like someone's learning a class. I see a teacher at the front that reminds me of the Australian woman that I follow on TikTok, where she taught me about castor oil, where you put it in your belly button to help heal. I started this journey of healing, because I did carry so many babies. So it's just like that journey of healing my body, all the scar tissue and everything like that. From C-sections. Also, balancing my hormones, because you do have to take injections. Like, we get into this knowing what we're getting into, like nothing was hidden or oblivious. You know what I mean? But, sometimes it's naive, you probably should do more research and realize what you're actually getting into. It's a beautiful journey, nevertheless. Like, I have, this unconditional love and, I don't know how to put it into words, but it's just like, the family that you never thought that you would have, that they love on you so much. And especially when Shane transformed, they were the first people to rush to my side, and it's like, what do you need? How can we help you? What happened? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, whatever you need, we're here for you. And I'm just like, wow. Like, I was so overwhelmed with their love and their passion, their compassion. Compassion was the biggest thing. There was a lot of lack of compassion from people you thought it should come from, and I was just so dumbfounded by that, but I was just like, wow, like, I'm so blessed to have that kind of unconditional love in my life, so it is people that were not born into your family, quote unquote, because, you know, you're told, like, blood is thicker than water, but it's like, you know, I feel like that blood is of what you make it. You know what I mean? Because some of us are not so lucky to have that kind of, you know, relationships in our life, you know? But I feel like, you know, that's where, with her, I could see someone writing on a whiteboard. I know one thing I wanted to learn was get my certification for an astrologist through Deborah Silverman's class. So, you know, she is quite straightforward with it. It's 2.5 hours of homework daily for 6 weeks. And I can't commit to that right now. My schedule is very full. So when it comes, you know, by the grace of Yahweh Yeshua, that does come in, maybe I'm able to do it, you know? So it's just like, you know, I feel like in that way. But I could be someone also, like, you know, we have the Hierophant here. So when I get the Hierophant, people see them as the pulpit that people are getting married. I understand that, but with the keys to me, I feel like the keys to knowledge. You know what I mean? Especially when you look at the magician here, you see like someone standing on a book, usually because they want to be taller. You know what I mean? Because they want to, like, you know, kind of look eye to eye to someone. So I feel like a youthful energy. But I feel like this is where they're saying, like, connections. Like, someone may come into your life that is younger. And it's like, never dismiss people, because it's like you don't know why they were brought into your life and what they're going to teach you. You know what I mean? People that are dismissive because of your background, of your color, of your language barrier, whatever it is, ageism. It's just like, if you live a life like that, you are missing out on so much. That you feel like you are too proud or you're too big to, you know what I mean? You get that all the time in my job. Oh, you're useless. You're this, you're that. And it's like, okay, I understand you're frustrated, so you're gonna call me every word in the book to make yourself feel better. Congratulations, you know. I was just like, yep. Are you finished? Okay, let me get you to where you need to be getting to. You know, it's just like good gravy. You know, customer service, abusive relationship, but not all of them. Some of them are truly amazing. You know, some of them you wish you could talk to forever. You know, but you can't. But I feel like with the Hierophant energy, I feel like an announcing, or you're sharing, you know, information. And that's one thing I love about her. I gotta write her name down because I can never remember. I'm so horrible with names. But with her, her energy just resonated. She just has this, like, I don't know. She just has this, like, motherly energy. You know what I mean? Even if you didn't know she was a mother, you could sense she's a nurturer. You just have that instant connect. Like, you probably could walk up to her. I obviously ask her permission. It's like, can I give you a hug? You know what I mean? And you would just feel this energy radiating from her. But everything she shares, she says, like, I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm sharing it because it was shared with me. I'm not meant to keep it to myself. I'm meant to share it. And that's what I love. That's why I share situations and scenarios, because it's like, I can relate to what you're going through because I've gone through it myself, unfortunately. And unfortunately, you resonate with that because you have gone through it. But we could take it as a learning lesson. And at this time, especially when you're in the depths of it and healing, it doesn't feel like that. When you come to the other, when I was talking about that, 1331 was on there. Look up that number. 1331 angel number. It's just like, that's another thing where she's like Deborah Silverman. She's saying, like, you know, use your guardian angels. You know, ask them specifically what things you want to bring in. So right now I'm like, give me the strength and courage to, you know, continue to do a routine that I'm bringing into my daily life. You know, especially with the wild yam cream, because I was a surrogate and I did take hormones. It's like balancing out my hormones now. Like, you know, I'm getting to, you know, 43 this year. So it's just like, you know, I could feel that my body is changing, especially with the castor oil and the healing. It's like, you could feel like, you know, I'm getting, like, I'm really, really hot. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I wonder if that's part of the change. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, you know, she came on, she started talking about Annie's wild yam cream. You can get it in Australia. Well, I don't live in Australia. I know she said there was a link directly to go to get it, you know, but I was lucky enough to find some. And you just put a little dab on what your index finger or your ring finger, a little dab, and she's like, put it into sensitive parts of your body. So like your forearm. So you put, on the morning you put it on one forearm, the next at night put it on the other forearm, and then the next day maybe you put it on your chest in the beginning of the day, and then you move to the inner thigh on one leg, you go to the inner thigh on the other leg, and then you go to your face, and then start all over again. You just do this rotation, and I do feel it. Like, she's like, it helps with menstrual cramps. You know what I mean? So maybe some people, maybe I feel like the stomach is sensitive in that way, like sensitive part of our body. But she never mentioned stomach, so I put it on my chest. But it's just like, she's like, just move it around. She's like, move it to different parts of your body, So it's just, I love the fact that she shares that. And maybe I'm sharing this and this resonates with someone else. I got mine off of Amazon. I'm in Canada, so, it was a little pricey. But the amount that you use, like, you just dip your finger in, your ring finger in it, and you just rub it into the area, that you want. And then done, takes 2 seconds, and I do notice a change. Like, I woke up this morning, I'm very, very hot, so I'm like, okay, maybe I am going through the change, who knows. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, I feel like I have to heal from that part of journey in my life, internally, with my uterus and everything like that. I also feel like, hormonally, so it's just like, I'm on a journey of healing, and in a way of healing my body. Like, that's one thing I love about Emily Skye. She's also Australian, and she, she's very transparent. A lot of people talk about nasty comments. They said that she wrecked her body by having children. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, what is, like, people think because you're on social media that you have the right to bash people. You're like, oh my word. I could not even imagine, So she sat there and she's very transparent. I am this many weeks postpartum. I got cleared by my doctor, and she started working out again after she gave birth. But she worked out right until she gave birth, And, she showed 3 years ago to where she is now, dedication. And she's had a lot of setbacks. The kids were under the weather. She ended up getting under the weather. She couldn't work out. She hurt her ankle, I believe, when she was doing sprints or something. So I love someone like that is very transparent. And that's why I think a lot of people love her, because none of us are perfect. We're just, I feel like this is where I feel like the Hierophant, where he has the megaphone and he's sharing information. I feel like that was the judgment card yesterday as well. Like, I always say, like, he's sounding a horn, but I feel like the shofar. We sound the shofar during Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, welcoming in the new year. And my son, I tried to do it. I could barely do it. My other son did it. He did pretty good. And then my youngest, he went for a very long time with it. I was like, oh my gosh, And one of the greatest things, and we were actually talking about this, my family that actually is in Australia, they recently moved, not recently, but they moved there. One was born there and moved back home with the family. And one of the things, and I never thought in a million, like, I was drawn to the Torah, like, and I did ask for one, and they gave me one in Hebrew, but, it was fine. But I got one that was translated into English, and it's like, when my last surrogate baby was born, there was a little boy that was at the hospital. His mother just had given birth, and it was during Yom Kippur, and he was sounding the shofar. And I was just like, what is that? And they said, that's a shofar. And I said, oh, they're like, it's Yom Kippur. And her name means gift from God. So I was just like, wow. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like how it's always been part of my life, and the first family I cared for was of the Hebrew faith. But it was before we connected that I actually was interested in reading it. The Torah. I've read the Quran. I've read the Christian Bible. I've read the Catholic Bible. You know what I mean? It's just like I had this pull towards it for a long time. So that's where I feel like when they're saying, if you use devices and apps for the right reasons, you will learn a lot. People will come across your path that you're supposed to resonate with, that will really connect with you. I feel like with this Two of Potions, I feel like this is coming out of hermit mode, because we're getting the hermit in reverse a lot. I was like, oh, this must be meaning the end of being single. But I feel like, we put too much emphasis on that. Like they say, the body is weak, but the mind is strong. Like the flesh is weak. And I feel like it's just like, again, where they're saying, be crystal clear what you want your guardian angels to do for you. What they want to, like, help assist you. And that's where I was just like, help me with this routine that I'm starting to, trying to do. Because my life is very full. You know what I mean? But they're like, well, you sit there and you watch this and you watch that. And I understand. They're like, we understand your woo-sowing, but it's like, you can do this. And I've been being pulled to do it for a while. Because, I'm sitting for certain time periods. And I bought an extension so I can stand while I work. I just can't do it. I can't stand and, be dedicated to do something, especially when I'm like putting my mind to something to find information and solve a problem. You know what I mean? It's just like, I can't do it. I haven't mastered that yet. Where you see some people that can walk and like, work on the computer and stuff. It's just not me. So it's like, I have to take the time outside of that and do it. And sometimes we are so back to back with, calls, which I love because the day goes faster, but it's like, it's exhausting mentally, So it's like, okay, I want to get into this routine. Just yesterday was a very long day and it was very full. So it was just like, I needed to woos out today. I needed to rest and rejuvenate. So it's like, realizing, okay, today might not be such a good day. I'm trying to get it done though, but we'll see what happens. But like asking, that's why I feel like, when I ask for guidance, I'm like, please guide me into doing this. And it was in my dream, the angel numbers, even though they're like, leave it alone. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where they're like connected in that way, where you sit there and you're just like, I was like, give me the strength to do this every day. Give me, the knowledge, or bring in this, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's still having those connections. And I, where, because we can't physically see people, I'm very lucky where I get to feel their energies and sometimes see them. I'm very lucky sometimes. So, and the reason I say that is because, I remember when I would see just the shadow because my eyes weren't adjusted yet. Like, it's your clairaudience where you're able to see that, So it's like anyone that's a healer will understand that. Or maybe you do see shadow and you're intrigued by it, but it's also intimidating because it's just like, what is this, So some people may think it's crazy, but once you come into that journey and beyond the veil, as we call it, you will see that where it's like you're lucky enough to feel that energy and have those people around. You can't be in it 24/7 because it's exhausting, but how lucky you are to have that ability. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like that person that was sitting there rubbing their hand back and forth on the spine of these 2 pages, and I could see that it's blank, and they have this fountain pen. I'm like, it looks like you're ready to take notes. And then I could see, like, I'm a couple of seats back. I usually sit in the front row because I don't have very good eyes. So it's just like, you can use castor oil, put it on your eyelids. It helps improve your eyesight. But with seeing her, so who knows? I don't know how old that video is. I don't know if she's still teaching. Maybe she'll have a virtual seminar. Who knows? But it's just like, eager to learn. The videos I've seen her, I've seen her like teaching others, and it's just like, you know what I mean? Where it's like you're sitting there to retain knowledge, So who knows? But I feel like it's just like that calling, like, maybe I will become a naturopath. Who knows? So it's just like, you resonate with people for a reason, Not to say like, I trust me, if you saw my For You page, I love comedy. I love to laugh. I love, you know what I mean? I love authentic people like Christy Howard. I love her. She's just such amazing energy. I totally resonate with her. I feel my heart breaks for her that she lost her sister. And, I unfortunately went through that loss where, even it's like we know these people and we know maybe this is inevitable. It's like you never want to see that demise. You never want to see any harm come to them. Spirit had told me so much, I was like, having a conversation, and I'm like, well, X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? It's just the better thing to do for the family. And they had mentioned a passing, and I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want no harm to come to him. No, not in a million years. No. I love him very much still, respect him very much, It's just like you have that, when you have that connection with someone, there's no breaking that connection, It's like you can't put it into words, you know what I mean? And a lot of people think, oh, it's because of this or that. No, it's just like when you have a connection with someone, you can't shake it. You dream of them. When you think about them, it puts a smile on your face. It's just, when because you remember that energy. Your mind never forgets that energy when you're around certain people. Just like when I'm around my kids, you know, when they're around me and we're watching shows or playing video games or playing board games or whatever we're doing. You know what I mean? It's just like you feel a certain way around certain energies. I feel that way around my kids. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just, I love being around them. You know what I mean? It's just like when they do their own thing, they're drawing or doing whatever they're doing, you know, doing their videos or something. It's, you know, school, whatever it is. It's just like, you know, when we hang out, we watch things, you know, I'll sit there and I'll just take their hand, I'll hold their hand, and I'll lay my head on their shoulder. They'll lay their head on my shoulder. It's, you know what I mean? It's just like you love being in that energy. You know, they make me laugh. You know, it's just great to be around. You know, very lucky. Like, you know, I count myself very lucky. You know, I hear the way that some people do behave, you know, after going through what we've gone through, and to see how, you know, are we perfect? Hell, heck no. Like, we're the furthest from that. But it's like the fact that you know, I'm like, you should put your energy into this. You're very good at that. I could see you going really far with that, you know, encouraging them on the things that they're really great at, you know, because I'm like, this could turn into something. This could be your career, and you love it, and you're so passionate about it. You know what I mean? That's what I love. You know, how I am with cards. It's like, this is my passion, you know? How lucky am I that I get people that trust me to do readings for them, and it's just like, you know, doing what I love, you know? You're very lucky when you come across stuff like that. So that's why I'm saying, like, when they're talking about this two potions here, because one's smaller than the other, I feel like it could be in the way of a child attaching to you. Greta Van Fleet talks about passing the torch. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, with Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, with Shabbat, it's like the kids don't even have to be there, because it's not like I'm like, you have to do this, you know? So it's like they just do it. Mass, all of it. It's like you don't have to be a part of it, but they watch it. They do the prayers. They, like, every single night, I do certain prayers before I go to sleep. They're right there with me. The Yishma we do before we go to sleep, they're right there doing it. It's like they don't have to be a part of it, you know? One of my sons doesn't even say it, but he holds my hand during it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you never know how you may influence the way that your children lead their lives, you know, or people that are around you. It's like, I do this because this what resonates with me. If it doesn't resonate with you, I totally respect that. And you know, they're kind of like in shock and awe. I'm like, I'm not going to force anybody to do anything they don't want to, you know? So I feel like that's where, you know, with the Hierophant, it's sharing, not being a gatekeeper. And I feel like someone just resonates with you, that you guys, like, I feel like a best friend relationship. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's just like, you know, it feels like home. You know, the best way, you know, when I'm watching Big Brother, and Izzy said that. She's like, Sari and Mama Felicia and Jared felt like home. You know what I mean? She's like, how lucky are you that you found people outside of your circle? You know, you're put in you're taken out of your comfort zone, and you still find people that feel like home. And she sacrificed her game. Let's be real. You know, she could have blown their games and stuff like that, but she was just like, you know what? That's something I'm gonna have with me forever. You know, she may have not won the prize, but you know, like, how blessed is she that she could possibly have these relationships for the rest of her life, you know? And you cannot put a price on that. And I feel like that's what, like, things that are priceless in your life, you know, relationships with your children, relationships with certain people, it's priceless, because you can never put a price tag on it. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, would you want $10 million, or do you want this friendship? It's like, $10 million could be gone tomorrow. I'm going to have this for the rest of my life, you know, by the grace of Yahweh and Yeshua, divine universe, creator, Gaia, Mother Earth. You know, it's like, you know, really cherish the things that give you. That's why I love this card. Even when I don't pull it, it's like it just shows up in my clairaudience. It's in my mind's eye, where it's just like, if you could only bottle this feeling. And I felt that so much during Rosh Hashanah. It's like, if only you could bottle this feeling, you would. Just to see, like, you know, Halloween decorations up, Yom Kippur decorations. You know, you could see the table runner on here. It's just like, it gives you that feeling, you know, of happiness, you know? I feel like what a lot of us are striving for in life. You know, we think if we win $1 million, it probably will, because you don't have to worry about anything anymore. That's the biggest thing in life, is worrying about paying bills every single month, right? Especially now. but it's just like to have that feeling, to forget that feeling for just a moment, you know? It's just beautiful. So it's just like, and that's why I love that. I think it was for a Lotto 649. I could be mistaken, but I love the way that he said that. It just resonated with me. He's like, I live my weekends like how I want to live when I'm retired. And I'm just like, that is brilliant. That's exactly what the weekend should be about. You know, just carefree, love, laughter, light, you know, just this carefree energy, you know? That's what I always love about high holidays and Shabbat. It's just, you know, it just, that energy that resonates so much, that feeling that resonates so much. Like they said, if you could ball it, you would, you know, 30-30 as I was talking about that. So, you know, I just feel like don't dismiss people around you just because maybe they don't have the education that you do, or maybe you don't think they're as savvy as you. You know, that may end up being a priceless relationship in your life, and you'll be surprised what you learn from some people. Some people are street smart and book smart. Some people are street smart. Some people are just book smart. You know, me and Shane were a great combination because he was very book smart. I was very street smart, and it was a great combination. You know, so it's just like I'm trying to teach my kids to be both. You know, there's nothing we can't figure out together. So it's just like, cherish that. So you guys have, thank you for watching another Daily Tarot Cards for Friday, September the 22nd, 2023. Have a safe and happy weekend. Anyone that has a booked reading, I will take care of that before Yom Kippur starts. And then anyone after who I have scheduled, you'll follow on going from Tuesday next week onwards. So it's just give you guys a heads up, but I will be closed for Shabbat and Yom Kippur, which is Sunday to Monday. So I hope you guys enjoyed these Daily Tarot Cards. Have a safe and happy weekend. Try to live your weekends as you would live as you're retired. I know maybe financially, you know what I mean? But find things that don't cost you any money. Maybe have a little bonfire. Make s'mores, you know? Just put some great music on. Whatever it is that makes you happy, you know? Around the people that truly bring you light and laughter. You know, surround yourself with good people that, you know, make life worth living, you know? So we'll see you for the next Daily Tarot Card. May the universe bless you good.